Steve Clemons, Director of the Americas Strategy Program at where? The New America Foundation, joins us live from D.C. Thank you very much for your time. As you can understand, we are in a breaking news situation here, and things happen when it is breaking news. Thanks for your time and your patience. First off, just your reaction to this news of Osama Bin Laden's death. Are you surprised that it's taken so long, or?
Well, no, I think it's game-changing news, and we've known for a long time. We became very used to the fact that Osama Bin Laden was beyond our reach. In fact, I've talked to many CIA and Pentagon and other officials over the years who themselves at various points began to wonder whether the guy was alive. I work with Peter Bergen, who had assured me at various points that he very much was alive, but he had slipped off the radar screen. And he was essentially the Michael Jackson of Al-Qaeda terrorism, focused in the United States. He was a pop culture figure in the world of those who want to create great mass havoc for others with a fanatic bent. And I think that it doesn't change the fact that the United States and its allies, and frankly the Islamic, the Arabic, and the Muslim world are going to continue to have to deal with those who were inspired by his actions, who weren't necessarily run by his operations in the past, but who were inspired by it. But essentially knocking out the biggest symbol globally is enormously significant.
Enormously significant indeed. So who do you see now as taking over the Al-Qaeda command structure? Of course, there's mention of Ayman al-Zawahiri, but how big of a blow is this for Al-Qaeda, and can anyone step in Osama bin Laden's shoes?
Well, I think Zawahiri continues to be also a very potent symbolic force, but he's not in a command and control position. But you've got forces we know in Yemen, in other places of the world, that don't take hierarchical instructions from Zawahiri and Bin Laden, but nonetheless were inspired. And so the question is whether these various separate cells, and I would say today that in Yemen you've got the most potent franchise operating today without direction from Zawahiri or Bin Laden, that continues to be extremely important, that is trying to take advantage of the tsunami of change in the Middle East and position itself in a way that it can maximize its ability to both create regional and I think global havoc. And so the command structure of Al-Qaeda today is decentralized, and yet they still have a brand, and the brand was Bin Laden and Zawahiri. But you've got self-selected groups that have organized inspired by them, and they're going to continue tomorrow and the next days, regardless of whether Zawahiri and Bin Laden are around or not.
Okay, Steve Clemons in Washington, thank you very much for your insights there. Let's now speak to General Jack Keane. We have him back on the line. He's a defense analyst and former U.S. Army Vice Chief of Staff, also on the line from Washington, D.C. with us. General, thank you very much for your time. If you could just give us first your insight, how does an operation like this, we heard Barack Obama say this is an operation that's been in the works for a while now. How exactly does it happen? How do you capture and kill Osama bin Laden?
Well, first of all, it's the piece of intelligence that's the most critical part of it. Somebody gave them a lead, and then they had to confirm that, and that probably took some time to make that confirmation. And then once they knew that, then a plan was certainly put together, and forces organized and probably rehearsed to conduct a mission that's as sensitive as this one. And we do this mission 10 to 15 times a night, quite frankly, in Afghanistan with very similar forces where we have targets that we're going after, and we spring on those targets very quickly in the middle of the night. So the United States forces, as other forces, have lots of experience at this, the British SAS as well. So this force is highly trained to be able to conduct a mission like this, even though the force they're attacking, all of his guards would probably outnumber them maybe 2, 3 to 1. They can take on a much larger force because they have surprise on their side.
Well, we heard President Obama say that a small team of Americans were involved in the operation, but do you think it's likely that there was collaboration perhaps with Pakistani intelligence officials or Pakistani authorities on the ground?
I am hoping that's the case, because as you well know, we have a strained relationship with Pakistan because of the sanctuaries that they are permitting in their country that the Afghan Taliban are occupying, and that has created a significant relationship problem for us. I'm hoping that they were part of the intelligence gathering and also possibly part of the planning, but at least I hope that we did have their collaboration and their cooperation on this operation, because it'll certainly improve relationships. They